This has gone on for long enough! I will not let them trap me in a corner like this!
Hi guys, TwinklePhoenix here, and welcome back to Seduce Me to the Demon War. We're on Matthew's route again, seeing as a recent update for Seduce Me. It was recommended by Michaela that we start again for the patch to work. So, yeah. The other episodes with Sama and Matthew will go in private, and these ones will go up for him. Right. Right, so Demon Lord here apparently is throwing a tantrum. Oh, too bad, we're going to trap you in a corner anyway, since I don't like you.
Azira!
Azira, of course, is Matthew's mother.
Husband.
I can sense the disdain in her voice.
You're still here. Why have you not left like the others?
Good question, actually.
What do you want?
Ooh, snappy.
Do you honor our marriage?
I don't know. Did you honor our bond when you slept with that whore?
I think she's referring to Damien's mother, seeing as she's not from, like, noble birth or anything, so I think that's who Azira is referring to.
I said, do you honor our marriage?
What about you, Demon Lord? We can ask the same about you.
I do honor it, unlike you.
Oh, point to Azira.
Then you still stand by our bond?
Why?
Why are you asking me these questions?
I love how she's getting angry and angrier because of how strange all this is.
Because I need your energy.
And he just says like so casually, because I need your energy.
What? What do you...
I'm giving you your physical form back. You should be thankful.
Now for a bit they're confused, the mothers, Eric's mom, James's mother, Sam's mother, and Matthew's mom all lost their physical forms due to the fact they hated Damien's mother. A lot of stuff happened involving the mother, and it got to the point where the Miller couldn't stand them all arguing anymore, so he took away their physical forms. I can't remember if he took away Damien's mother's form. Those that have recently watched Seduce Me once playthrough, please do remind me. I can barely remember the thing with the mothers. All I know is that they did lose their physical forms because of something that happened with the fifth mother, which is Damien's mom, because they did not like her.
What are you?
You see, at this point, I actually have no clue what just happened. All I know is that that was a terrifyingly painful sounding shriek. I could understand what was in front of me. I could hardly believe it was real, but there it was, right before my eyes, complete darkness. How had my life even gotten to this point? As I gripped the pen in my hand, which currently is very hard to see, I let my mind settle into the situation, my fingers gently sliding over the pen surface, nervous and softly shaking. This was happening.
Hey, is everything okay?
It will be when I open my eyes. There we go. I glanced up to see Matthew looking at me with worry. I could only shake my head and smile before finally signing my name on the paper in front of me. Oh. Don't worry, I've got this. There we go. Looking at my own name made me somewhat giddy, especially since it was next to Matthew's. So what do you think? Matthew looked over and gently rotated the paper on the table to look at what I had written.
Thank you for coming to our wedding.
Whew, thank goodness we got that out of the way. That was quite a hurdle. What's wrong?
Nothing. It's just really cool to see our names together.
Ah. I felt a blush run across my cheeks. Was he thinking the same thing I was? Looking at our names together made me feel warm and fuzzy on the inside. Looking at Matthew, he was grinning ear to ear, which made me do the same. His smile was practically infectious.
Anyways, we are very happy you could all attend. It means so much to us that you support our step forward, and we hope you enjoy the reception. That sounds good, right?
Yeah, it does. Also, I wonder if in this wedding reception, Matthew went ahead and had the DJ and the really big cake. Ooh. I wonder if I get to see the DJ. Yeah, that sounds good. Wedding preparations was nothing like I expected. I had organised parties before. Well, not by myself. I had the help of the Incubi Brothers, but still. But my own wedding had become a new foreign adventure for me to figure out with Matthew. Invitations, budgets, the dress, the ceremony venue, the reception. It was all crazy. God, my voice went weird then. Still, I was glad to know I was able to do this, to be with Matthew. He seemed as excited about this as I was. There was something missing, however. Hey, Matthew.
Huh? What is it?
Do you think your mom would approve of this? The curiosity idea had been eating at me ever since he proposed to me. I knew he wasn't a fan of his father, but his mother was a different story. According to him, she'd always been supportive of him right up until he left. And also always crying. Matthew rubbed his head, staring at the table in thought.
Well, I don't know. I think she'd be surprised I'm marrying a human. But I think she'd be okay with it in the end. She is my mother, after all.
There was a pause there that made me worry. Matthew only smiled and shrugged. I knew it was a bit out of the left field to ask, but I was curious. I wish his mother could be able to attend the wedding, but I knew that would never be an option. Well, no, not with the demon lord around. Okay, so that is definitely the mom then, saying that. Huh? My thoughts instantly derailed as I caught a ghostly whisper that seemed to reverberate in the air. I couldn't pin down the location, but I knew that I had heard something.
Huh? What is it?
You didn't hear that?
Hear what?
Like a ghostly apparition voice. Woo! I looked at Matthew in surprise. He didn't hear the whisper. It had spoken his true name. I shook my head and rubbed my temple. Maybe I was just imagining things.
Help me.
Wow, that's the loudest voice I've heard in my imagination in a while. There it was again. I stood up from my seat and looked around, trying to figure out where the voice was coming from. I must have nearly knocked Matthew over with that look of surprise on his face. Who's that?
Whoa! Whoa! What's wrong?
I looked at Matthew. How could he not hear it? I wasn't crazy. That's still yet to be seen. Someone was saying your name. Matthew raised an eyebrow, unsure what I meant. Why didn't he get it? What was so hard to understand?
But I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I don't have an explanation of why he did not hear that. See, that really does not make any sense to me. Was she thinking it in her head? I know I'm not making sense, but someone keeps saying your real name.
My real name? Zakeru?
Yes, it sounds a bit like zebra. Yeah, she keeps saying it, and help me. Matthew slowly rose from his seat, looking down at the table in confusion and worry. I could tell he believed me, but wasn't sure how to respond. Are you sure you can hear it?
I'm sure.
And I mentioned, if he did hear his true name being said, wouldn't he teleport to that person? Isn't that how it works? When you say the demon's true name, they appear before you? Unless I'm completely mistaken. Can anybody out there tell me, is that correct? Or am I way off here in the whole entire thing with, like, the true name? Matthew looked up at me and walked around the table to stand next to me, and I turned my head to face him. He looked into my eyes, and gently brought his hand to my cheeks.
Does she sound like anyone we know?
Well, if she started crying constantly, then perhaps the main character would actually recognize her. No, not unless she's crying, and then you're going to recognize the crying because we could hear the mother crying in the flashbacks. But even then, it didn't leave a strong impression on us. I said to Matthew, who continued to look into my eyes. What was he looking for? Eventually, Matthew leaned in and placed a soft kiss on my forehead. What?
I'll look into it, okay? For right now, don't worry about it and ignore it. It might be an illusion or something. This place is so full of magic, so it could be that.
Yes, but don't you think it's kind of strange that she would imagine someone saying, Zakeru, help me? Wouldn't it have said her name? If it was an illusion meant for her, why would it say your name? I could tell Matthew was worried. He wasn't making sense. However, I knew that we had a lot on our minds. So this was something that needed to wait. Maybe he just wanted me not to worry. I would have thought that somebody saying help would be like the first thing you'd go for, regardless of whether or not you'd go help the person. But hey, fair enough. Still, I couldn't help but be worried about it. Which is fair enough, because you're hearing voices again. Matthew gently released me and gave me one of his goofy smiles.
Alright, well, I think that's enough work for today. Let's save the rest for tomorrow, okay?
Okay. I nodded. Today had been pretty stressful, so rest would definitely be good. Ooh, I like this part. Matthew led me back up to our room and got ready for bed. I, however, watched as Matthew absently ruffled his hair. Despite his kid-like demeanor, he was still a man, and he was the one I was going to marry. What was even better about our love was that when we both loved every part of each other. I couldn't stop gushing over his eyes, his fluffy hair, his kisses. He drove me crazy as he made me laugh every single day I spent with him. Cue Twinkle messing up lines again. It didn't help that he was also sexy underneath that baggy clothes he wore. No one was privileged enough to see him bare, and I was the lucky woman given that permission. A simple ruff of his hair was enough to catch my attention. I stared at him. I really loved him. A small fire burnt in my core, letting me know of my sexual attraction to him, but I wasn't sure whether or not to go with my gut or just sleep. I love how we get straight into this on Matthew's route. We don't get straight into it on Sam's route. Not right away. On Eric. Eric doesn't get straight into this either. Okay, well, geez. I looked up and down his body. I really couldn't help but let my libido take control. I let a soft moan, loud enough for Matthew to hear. He froze, turning to look at me with a blush across his face.
Huh?
Matthew. I was nervous, but I decided to tease him. I would have to go all the way. I slowly began to strip off my clothes, revealing my underwear and bra. Matthew's eyes darkened into a lustful gaze as I gently ran my fingers on my stomach and between my breasts. We did a lot of work today, but I don't want to sleep just yet. I gently leaned forward and climbed onto the bed on my hands and knees, letting him enjoy the sight of my cleavage. Matthew turned to watch me slowly, not taking his eyes away from me as I crawled forward to his side of the bed. I licked my lips happily to know that my teasing was working. I finally stopped moving forward and got up on my knees, leaning back a bit, stretching my arms behind my head. Why not make the night a bit better with me? I almost couldn't recognize my own voice, however I went along with it. He wasn't the only one in the relationship that could set a mood, even though he was the incubus. As Matthew stared, I felt a soft heat envelop my core and rush through my body. Another moan came out of my mouth. I looked into Matthew's eyes, seeing them glow a loving but lust-filled gold. It slowly faded as the enthrallment he cast me ran through my body, making me hotter. Woohoo! Topless already! Matthew slowly began to strip off his jacket and shirt, letting me enjoy the show before he licked his lips. He knew exactly how to respond to my teasing, and despite it not being fair, he used his inhuman charm to make my mind melt at the sight of him. I like how all the boys are getting topless in this one. As he pulled his shirt off his body, he held it out to the side, letting me get a good look at his chest. I felt myself lick my lips at the sight.
Then, let me make it better.
So full of himself, I like it. That was all he needed to say before coming over to me and crawling all over my body, capturing my lips with his in a heated kiss. His arms wrapped around my waist as his other hand gently slid down my back and gingerly held my rear. I let my legs move out from underneath me so that he could kneel between them. Gently grinding my knee against his, he smote against my lips as he gave a playful, slow grind with his hips against my core. My mind went crazy at his teasing foreplay. He pulled me against his body, squeezing me with his arms around my waist before deepening the kiss between us. I let a moan escape my throat and became lost in his mouth as he claimed my lips for himself. I loved feeling him touch me and hold me to him. He was the man I loved, and I wanted to give him everything as he gave me just as much and more. Our sex became just another way to express our desire and love for each other. Soon enough, we were both panting and moaning hotly as we made deep and passionate love. Our clothes were strewed around the bedroom, but our focus was in each other's eyes. His moans echoed mine as we kissed and nipped over my neck and shoulder. However, he always came back to stare in my eyes and kiss me deeply as we made love to me, as I made love to him. I loved him and wanted to be held by him and be full of him forever. My heart belonged to him, and he was my dream come true for me. To feel his love for me was a blissful treasure I would cherish and experience for the rest of my life. He also knew how to find my sweetest spots and knew the ways to make me buck and scream his name. We rose higher in our pleasures and ecstasy until we both ran over our limits and ever so gently floated back into the loving feelings of our embrace. Matthew could only pant and hold me in his arms, sweetly patting my hair and kissing over my forehead.
I love you so much.
I love you too. My heart flared at the sound of his voice. He was my everything, and to feel him in my arms made me happy beyond compare. I happily embraced the darkness of sleep as Matthew continued to hold me in his arms. The darkness was meant to be peaceful, sleep was meant to be relaxing. However, my mind began to wonder at what had happened earlier that evening. Hearing that voice made me worried. Something was off, something was going on, and I was the only one who could sense it. Why though? I let the darkness seep into my mind a little longer, unsure what to think of it. Oh boy! What the? Die? I opened my eyes and found myself no longer in my bedroom, but on a stone cold floor, staring at a high marble ceiling. Despite feeling foreign textures beneath my skin, I vaguely knew where I was. I was in the main hall of the Demon Lord's castle. I remember the sight from the visions the boys gave me when Diana first appeared. Why was I here though? Where? My instincts forced me to turn to the sound, and I saw someone I did not expect. Diana. Head in the air with Diana hanging from 4 long lines of chains. They were attached to her wrists and ankles. She was spread out like a star, and the chains were pulling her body in different directions, seemingly ready to rip her in half. Ouch. That's actually a medieval torture, just for everyone to be aware of. Ow. My mind couldn't fathom why she was in this illusion, if this was one. She looked so different, but I could tell it was her. Why was she in chains, though?
Release me! Oh, I will.
Matthew's voice reverberated with a cold, demonic resonance, and it drew my eyes towards him in shock. There he was, sitting on the throne, practically lounging. He was still in his human form. His eyes were glowing in a natural gold color. What was even more odder was that he was smirking at Diana. I'd never seen him smirk like that, like he was enjoying seeing someone's pain.
I'll kill you once I'm bored of this game. Your struggle is just so much fun to watch.
You think this is funny, brat?
Matthew glared as the chains pulled hard on Diana's limbs. I flinched from the sound of her body stretching, almost hearing the sound of bones cracking. Ow. Diana, however, sneered at Matthew in reply.
Do you really think calling me a brat is going to help you?
Not really, but it does make people feel better calling others names.
Well, that's what you are. A brat who abuses his toys until they break.
Diana, please don't refer to yourself as a toy. I could only stare at the two, completely confused by what I was witnessing. I should speak out, but then my voice disappeared before any sound could be formed in my throat. Seems that's like a running trend in your dreams, or in these type of events. I looked down, trying to figure out why I couldn't speak. There was some sort of vice pressing through my vocal cords, not allowing me to mutter even a single sound. Its weight made me almost choke. Before I looked back at my Matthew, it gave a sickly, evil chuckle.
That's right. I like to play with my toys until they're of no use to me. That's how toys work.
Anybody want to go up there and smack Matthew in the face and try to get him to come back to us? Matthew stood up slowly from the throne, and his lips curved into a devilish smile as his tongue ran along his upper lip.
And when I'm done with them, I destroy them.
Oh dear.
And what of the human? Is she just another toy?
Matthew, please remember that what you're about to say could result in whether or not I want to kick your butt. I looked up at Diana, seeing her move her head to look at me, before turning back to Matthew and realization. I was physical here. I wasn't just watching the event, I was a part of it. Matthew looked back at me, and his face shifted to an innocent smile. My heart desperately came to the possibility that he wasn't evil, as he was presenting himself to be. His smile pulled my heartstrings, giving me hope that he was just playing some sick joke. I don't see Matthew playing this type of sick joke, sweetie. I'm sorry, but it's just not Matthew's way.
She's not just a toy.
God damn you, Matthew, I will smack you. My heart dropped in my chest. Matthew tilted his head cutely, giving me a disgusting feeling of adoration and fear from the sight. Never I'd imagined feeling like this while looking at the one I loved. Yet here I was.
She's my favorite toy. I can't break the toy that I have the most fun with. Especially when that toy gives me so much energy.
Oh, sugar. Oh dear, I don't know what to do in this situation right now. Definitely got that smacking one. No way, he's a demon, isn't he? So smacking him wouldn't do anything, he'd grab your hand. Gosh darn it, we can't do anything to him. Call him like you were just angry. Never mind. I don't know. I definitely go up there and smack him though. Like a predator, Matthew began to walk towards me, passing underneath Diana's hanging form. I couldn't move as he kneeled down and cupped his hand around my chin. Why couldn't you move? Oh wait, because it's a dream thing. That's fair enough, but still. Bite him! Maybe some sort of pain will wake him up.
I'll keep you with me forever and ever.
Suddenly I'm very scared of the idea, Matthew. Very afraid right now. Would not actually be really comfortable with marrying you either right now with this situation. Matthew, please come back to us. Fear seared my nerves. I didn't want to be near this man. This wasn't Matthew. It couldn't be. There was no way. As he stood up, I felt tears run down my face. If this was a nightmare, I wanted to wake up, please. Matthew's hand pointed at the throne and glided through the air back to me. The sound of chains echoed through the room, forcing me to follow it and see a chain flying at me. Hey! I tried to scream as it leapt towards my throat. From thin air, a shackled collar formed around my neck, connecting to the chain as it reached me. I was pulled forward roughly through the air before landing beside the throne with a painful thud. Are you trying to kill her or give her a concussion, Matthew?
No!
Fair enough. Diana screamed as a large cage suddenly formed around my body, making me its prisoner. I scrambled to my knees and gripped the bars surrounding me, now frightened beyond compare. Matthew let a terrifying laugh, sending more waves of fright through my body. This wasn't happening.
This world is mine. No one can stand in my way anymore. Not James, not the Demon Lord, and not you, Diana.
Okay, he's gone like through this like whole entire power trip or something, because Matthew's seriously gone out of it right now. Matthew, oh Matthew, dearest, dear sweet Matthew, if you're in there, please come back to us. We'd like the non-terrifying, scary person that James, his future wife. This is so weird and strange. Where's Sergio when we need him? Smirking widely, Matthew looked at Diana, raising his arms across his body.
And I've grown tired of you.
Oh dear. Before Matthew could move, my fear and anger quickly bubbled in my chest. One word pushed past the blockage in my throat. Stop! My voice ripped through the air. Everything went black. My body, however, sat up in bed in shock from what I'd seen. My screams reverberated through the room. Did I sink in that I was awake and all that had been a nightmare? You've really got to sort out your nightmare, sweetie. Despite it all being real, I was no longer in a cage. I was in a room with Diana being ripped apart. I wasn't...
Ah! What?
I shook my head to the side to see Matthew in bed with me, sitting up beside me rubbing his head. A heavy tiredness weighed down the eyelids over his frightened eyes, but my mind suddenly began to seize in fear just from looking at him. My mind shouted that it had just been a nightmare, but my body couldn't help but remember what Matthew had done to me in that dream. It may have been fake, but I couldn't stop the fright from rushing over my nerves. Tears formed in my eyes as I stared at Matthew. I wanted to know that everything was fine, but I really was more than just a toy for him. But my voice wouldn't let me speak without bawling. Matthew quickly rubbed his eyes and stared at me, his concern obviously deepening as, seeing me in tears, he slowly raised his hands to embrace me, but I flinched away, causing him to freeze in place.
Whoa! It's okay. It's alright. It's just me.
Keep in mind, Matthew, if you ever become like that, I will not be afraid to smack you. Matthew's voice tried to warm over my fear, but my feelings were still conflicted. Despite my brain knowing better, he could just stare at me, waiting for me to relax. I couldn't meet his gaze, weary with both fear and sadness.
Hey, I'm gonna hug you, okay? That's all.
Okay. My heart wanted to believe him. I had to. He couldn't be as sadistic as my nightmare had depicted him. Then again, we didn't know that James was into chains and bondage, so yeah, just saying. I nodded to Matthew, slowly began to wrap his arms around me, hugging me to his chest. Now, main character, remember, it's just a dream, and I've only now realised something. Where does Slime and Tabby sleep at night if these two are busy in the bedroom? Because clearly he is around. He must see some stuff.
There we go. It's okay.
Aww. Matthew's so sweet. He's comforting us. I began to melt into Matthew's arms, finally feeling the fear disappear from my body. I pressed my face into his shoulder, shaking in remorse as the pain drained away. I'm sorry. Matthew simply rocked me in his arms and nuzzled the side of my head with his. He occasionally planted a kiss over my cheek and shoulder, reminding me of his love and that everything was okay. His breath became a tempo for me to follow, letting me relax and feel his love all around me.
Bad dream, huh?
You don't know the half of it. Yeah. Matthew gave me a soft squeeze, snuggling up to me, and I gratefully snuggled back. He would never hurt me. I couldn't let myself be this affected by a nightmare. Hopefully he wouldn't ask about it.
Hey, whatever the dream was, just know that everything will be alright, okay? It was just a stupid nightmare. Whenever you wake up, I'll be right here beside you, ready to make it go away.
Oh, you need another cuddle. The way he sounded so confident made my heart flare in my chest. He truly cared for me, and that was something I adored about him. He loved me and I loved him in return just as much. I nodded and nuzzled his shoulder, warming into his embrace further. Matthew smiled and kissed the top of my head. As I closed my eyes, he gently laid his back down on the mattress and helped me shift to lie against him, making his chest my pillow. Thankfully, the nightmare did not return that night. I was left with a warm embrace and a peaceful slumber until the morning rose. Even in the days that followed, the nightmare did not come back. Neither did the mysterious voice. My weeks became peaceful. Final details for the wedding became our only focus. I was nervous for it, and soon the day of the wedding had snuck up on me, and I was in my room, staring at myself in my wedding dress. Whew. Right, we're gonna save it there. Okay, Sam, Matthew. Okay, so that's the first episode for each boy done. Got it. Right, see you guys tomorrow with more Seduce Me. Right then. I'm sorry that the Matthew's route and Sam's route were kind of a bit hectic. A lot going on. I'm not really sure why it's been noisy lately, but hey, at least it's done out of the way now. So see you guys in the next Seduce Me episode. Bye. See you next time.